unredacted the fact that Les Wexner was listed as a co-conspirator on the FBI's own document. She repeated the straw man that her deputy put out on the internet that, oh, he's mentioned hundreds of times. And I knew she would do that. That's why I led with that. I said, your deputy already said this. But she didn't have the wherewithal to get off her talking points and respond to what I actually said.
Well, Congressman, you've said that you have seen some of the unredacted documents,
yeah.
And you've seen names. Why not just release them and let people know who's in them?
Because the victory is forcing them to release their own documents that show they listed them as co-conspirators. I could go read the names, but I don't have the evidence with me. They hold the evidence attached to the names. And so you saw what I did Monday. I forced them to release to unredact two documents, and also admit that the Sultan was the one who sent the torture video. That's the way you do it. We passed a law. We did all this effort. The going and reading the names is like in case of emergency break glass option. And I don't even have the names. I'm still getting them from the DOJ.
Sir, do you think that Cash Patel lied under oath in his testimony? We played the video for Attorney General Bondi and she responded to it, but what do you make of that whole situation?
I provided the evidence today that shows that his statements were false under oath. Cash Patel's statements were false. They are in possession. They were in possession at the time, and they're still in possession of evidence that other men participated in the sex trafficking.
Attorney General Bondi didn't seem to directly answer that question. What do you make of what she did say?
She didn't answer anything. She came here just ready to talk about the Dow Jones and the NASDAQ. It seems kind of crazy to me.
What recourse does...
I think that's part of the culture of this administration. When they don't have a good argument, they just go to name calling. That's what our boss does to me, so I just let that roll off.
And what recourse does Congress have? I mean, this is a law, they're not abiding by it, so what recourse do you have now? What's next?
Well, I think we're making progress. We got them to admit they over-redacted 2 documents this week, and that they have co-conspirators' names that they haven't released. The recourse, and I keep reminding the folks at DOJ this, is that the next Attorney General can bring charges against them for breaking the law. I think that's what's compelled them to produce 3 million documents. And now they're claiming that it's incompetence. Like their defense today is incompetence for why they haven't given us all the documents they should, why they have over-redacted in the case of co-conspirators, and why they failed to redact the names of the victims.
Can I just ask what it's like to have the victims inside of that room while you're doing all this?
I think it's helpful. I mean, they're the reason this bill got passed. People say, when will you be satisfied? I'll be satisfied when those victims are satisfied, the survivors who were here today. And until then, I'm going to, work my butt off trying to get the DOJ to comply with this law.
Can you give us any more context about why you believe that the 6 men that you guys have found in these unredacted files, why you believe that they're likely incriminated by what you found in the files? Like, is there other addendums, other pages that you're able to connect to the ones that you've been able to lift the redactions that brought you to those conclusions, or where are you coming on?
That would be a question for the DOJ. Why did they have a list of 18 people with Maxwell and Epstein on it, and 2 victims, and then a bunch of people that so far seem random to me? And then why were they compelled to redact this men's names? But if we go to actual FBI documents that have titles on them, like the FBI document, the 3-page document that has Leslie Wexner listed as a co-conspirator, at the top of that document, it says child sex trafficking. Like, if you're the DOJ, and wouldn't that be the first place you go when you inherit documents from a prior administration? By the way, that's a 2019 document when Bill Barr, I believe, was Attorney General. At least Trump was president. So and then she appealed to, oh, well, why didn't you ask Merrick Garland? I'm wondering why under George Bush, why under Barack Obama, why under Trump's first term, why under Biden. This is a cover-up that spans multiple administrations.
But what do you make of the argument that, look, you took this down after 40 years
Nicole,
with
if you
respect to
can
less
hear me,
work
I'm
to
gonna
do.
try
And
to
in terms
step
of the law, that it seems like it didn't give the DOJ enough time to redact these documents.
Yeah, the time argument
in a
was
proper way.
The time argument can be made once, and it was made on December 19th when they first broke the law. And they said, we're going to take our sweet time, we're going to protect the victims, and we're going to do this right. And then they just failed miserably. After they took as much time as they said they needed, they basically said, we're not going to pay attention to the deadline anymore. We're going to take all the time we need. And they still failed. And they're still withholding documents. I mean, the fact that they produced 2 of them this week, and without redactions after I found them, that's evidence that they're either incompetent or they're trying to withhold. So my question to Pam Bondi, which she wouldn't answer, is do you have any structure in the organization? Do you know who the individual was who put the black ink over the one most incriminating document there is on Les Wexner? That's the name I want. That's the person I want to come in front of oversight.
Are you confident you'll get
I
that?
gotta go vote.
Are you confident you'll get that name?
I don't know.